Hi, I'm Ryan Daws, Senior Editor at TechForge Media, and with me today is Natali Tshuva, who is the co-founder and CEO of Sternum IoT. Natali was recognized for her talents from a very early age and was handpicked at 19 to serve in the Israeli Defense Forces 8200 unit, which is roughly the Israeli equivalent of our MI6 in the UK or the NSA for our friends across the pond. She then went on to hold numerous high-level cybersecurity roles before functioning Sternum. So Natali, first of all, if we start at a high level, what made you decide to launch an IoT-focused cybersecurity company?
The main reason is actually I considered becoming a doctor, and I got exposed through this experience to medical devices and how connectivity and smart medical devices could enhance treatment, save people's lives, and change basically the way we practice medicine. And this is how I started looking into the IoT space. And I found out that it's not just about security cameras or baby monitors. It's about PLCs and critical infrastructures and medical devices and smart cities. And that got me really excited because I think it's a very interesting and important revolution. That is missing key components that I happen to be pretty familiar with, which is the embedded security, endpoint protection, and data analytics to this kind of devices. So the combination of the industries, the revolution, and the core competencies that we bring from the unit got us to found Sternum together.
And so how do you protect IoT devices from new threats without requiring firmware updates?
Up until now, the main security solutions for this industry was passive and reactive, patching, static analysis, and so on. While if you take a look at this IT industry or the standard industry, we are using a lot of real-time protection, zero-day protection, EDRs, RAS, runtime application self-protection, and advanced techniques to stop exploitation and to stop attacks in real time. That missing piece is what Sternum brings into the IoT space. And by using these techniques to prevent exploitations in real time, we are capable of stopping attacks, even if you have vulnerabilities in your device. Effectively, it means that even if you don't patch, or even if your devices are unable to patch, you are still protected.
Cloudflare stopped a record-breaking DDoS in June, which, unlike many previous botnets, which have typically used compromised low-power IoT devices, it used more powerful devices like hijacked virtual machines and powerful servers. So do you think that this suggests that this recent shift in the devices being used for botnets is an indicator that perhaps through efforts like from what Sternum are doing, that it's actually becoming quite challenging to compromise enough low-power devices to overcome quite capable now modern cyber defenses?
Yeah, so I think the landscape of attacks is really wide. So we are still seeing different kinds of attacks on low resources devices as well as more high-end devices. We're seeing anything from everything. And I think the most interesting data is that there was 1.5 billion cyber attacks in 2021 targeting IoT devices. So it's really anything from everything. They are being used as entry points to networks. They are being used for botnet attacks. They are being targeted starting from low-end sensors and up to PLCs and sophisticated devices that have more resources. And I think it just emphasized the need for a universal platform that can provide observability, that can provide security, that can really be the one-stop shop for how you build your products, design them, launch them without issues into the field, and then how post-market, post-deployment, you have surveillance, you have data analytics, and you have real-time protection against all of those vulnerabilities, issues, gaps that you didn't find during development. And one statistic shows that 50% of vulnerabilities are getting missed by static analysis tools and by developers. It's the same for quality issues, and it's the same for other things that can influence your devices while they are already deployed. This is where real-time analytics, real-time security, and real-time anomaly detection could really prevent the kind of attacks that you mentioned, but also many different kinds of attacks and issues that can happen.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of statistics from reports there. I believe the one that you first mentioned there might have been from Verizon's report. But is Sternum itself continuing to see an increase in the prevalence of attacks on IoT devices?
Yes, of course. So first, we are seeing more and more vulnerabilities that are being disclosed. There was always, they were always there, right? Vulnerabilities are there, whether they are disclosed or not. But more researchers, more white hats, more exploitations in the field suggest more vulnerabilities are being exploited in the wild. We happen not just to see those, but also stop those. So I can tell you that just in the past few months, we were able to prevent 3 zero-day vulnerabilities from hurting our customers. And we are seeing, recently we launched a new capability into our platform, which is anomaly detection. And that capability, Ryan, is very unique in the IoT space because it is applies on the unique data that the customer's device is generating. It's not a general anomaly detection, but a customized automated learning algorithm that learns the specific device with its data matrix events and provide anomalous behavior detection on that customized data. Since we developed this and used that with a few beta customers, we were able to find many malicious activities, including interception of the update procedures of the devices, including attempts to steal IP from a device. People are trying to investigate the firmware to basically analyze the IP within the machine. We were able to find brute force attempts to try to basically hack into the password, the admin password to the device. And that's just from a few weeks of being in the field. So Sternum is a young company. It's hard for me to say that we are seeing an increase in attacks compared to previous years because we weren't here. But this is what we feel in the market is that the rise is here and we're feeling it as well.
You mentioned a couple of the attacks types there, but are the attacks predominantly seeking to add to botnets for DDoS attacks, or are they looking to steal data, conduct cryptomining, or something else entirely?
I will answer it from a professional standpoint for a second. To understand what malware wants to do, you have to first be able to deploy the malware. Sternum solution is actually preventing this stage from even happening, because we are not just identifying a potential breach, we are preventing it from happening in real time. So in many cases, we don't really know what is the next step, like what the malware is trying to do, because we are stopping the malicious activities from even happening. In some cases where we detected an activity after it already happened, usually it was either penetrating into a bigger network, like using the IoT device as an entry point is a very strong activity that we're seeing. We've discovered a few malwares running on routers. Actually, it was basically the presence on the router was what this malware was trying to achieve, to identify other assets on the network and to listen to the activity that goes through the router. These are the kind of things that we saw. Ransomware continues to be a strong malicious activity. Only in the IoT space, it could sometimes be used, for example, in hospitals where you can take control over the medical devices and use that as a ransomware basically attack. Or you can even, we've seen some attempts to attack device manufacturers by basically penetrating their devices in the field. And there were some publications that you can look for on companies that their devices was declared as not to be used by enterprises because they are weak in terms of security. So we are seeing also security being used as some kind of a competitive edge. People want to make sure that they are buying secure devices, and companies are basically enhancing their security efforts to make sure that they can, be in line with the enterprise standards for the devices that he acquires.
Yeah, there was a major ransomware attack on our healthcare system here in the UK, which I believe made quite a few headlines around the world. So we're aware of that one. So have you, as a bit of a kind of post-mortem, and I believe it was one of your own blog posts I read where you said that no company or solution is perfect. Have you ever let an attack slip through, and what lessons were kind of learned from that to make your solution more robust going forward?
Part of the reasons why we worked very hard on the anomaly detection component in the past year is because we learned that our solution provides deterministic protection against software vulnerabilities, which are a top threat for the IoT space. But there are a lot of vulnerabilities that are more of logical vulnerabilities, like people make mistakes, human mistakes, wrong design, basically that could cause malicious activity or open the door for an attacker. And you can't really catch that using deterministic protection because it's not the software that has a bug, but it's a more of a logical mistake. The anomaly detection component is tailored exactly for that, because what it does is actually learning the logical behavior of the device and its patterns, the pattern of updating, the pattern of connecting, the pattern of operation. And when there is something that is out of pattern, our anomaly detection is capable of alerting it in real time. And that actually completes the picture of what we were missing before. And now I think makes our platform the most holistic platform out there for securing the device from edge to cloud, including all of its components and including the third parties and supply chain, which is a major challenge in the industry.
Sternum launched the first IoT attack simulation platform earlier this year, which was something I was glad to cover. But what benefits, in your words, does that provide enterprises?
This actually is a nice story because it came from many discussions that we had with customers that were saying to us, first, your solution sounds like magic. How can it be true? But the most interesting question was, how can I check it? How can I test it? Because when I buy network solution for securing my network, I can go to Mitre, I can go to Mitre attack test results and compare Sentinel-1 to CrowdStrike to Cybereason and so on. But if I want to purchase an IoT security, I don't have any benchmark and I don't know how to test you. And we actually took that in both hands and thought how we can make it easier for enterprises and device manufacturers to actually test in a very reliable way what they are protected from, where they have vulnerabilities, and how solutions, other solutions, not just Sternum, handle with different threats. And for that purpose, we built the attack simulation platform, which is very similar to what Mitre is doing, only it simulates attacks targeting IoT devices. And then the enterprise and device manufacturer can actually deploy different security solutions and test them against real-life exploitations and see how effective they are, what is the weak spots of your device or your security defenses that you have. And I think this is another step in bringing trust into the industry. Ryan, we released 2 months ago the first freemium in the industry that provides free runtime protection to OpenWRT devices. Some of the things we heard is, how can a runtime protection work on OpenWRT? It has no resources. That doesn't sound true. So that just reinforce what I'm trying to say, that trust is missing in the industry. People don't believe that solution work the way they say they work. And people find it hard to also evaluate because of the missing standards and missing platforms. And Sternum, at the first stage, is just trying to bring trust by releasing free tools, free simulations, free experiment with our products, so you can see how easy it is to install and how effective it is. And we are very transparent in terms of what tests we are providing, what simulations we are running, and what kind of threats we are able to prevent. All for the purpose of bringing trust into the industry and emphasizing the fact that you can have strong security while still maintaining time to market schedules, and of course resources and bandwidth that you have on your limited IoT devices.
What is your focus over the course of the next year?
Same focus as previous year, which is basically being the infrastructure for every smart device out there. We keep talking with manufacturers that has two main challenges. One is, I have a lot of data that my devices are exposed to. How can I gain insights from that data? Insights that will affect my next product release, insights that will help me resolve issues faster, provide remote debugging or remote support, and how can I build a monitoring system and analytic systems that can support my needs? That's one thing. And my message to these manufacturers is that don't build it yourself, because it will take you years and it will not be as good as taking product that was purpose-built exactly for that. That's the one thing. The second challenge that we keep hearing is security. And security has been a challenge for the past few years, but in 2021, something significant happened. Devices started to be exploited exponentially more than previous years. So the challenge has become even more urgent. And Sternum is aiming in the next year to provide that platform that solves these two main challenges, so manufacturers could continue to innovate and really treat people better, build infrastructure smarter, and build our new cities in a secure and observable way.
Great. And you will be sponsoring, exhibiting, and speaking at this year's IoT Expo. What will you be sharing with the audience?
So we first have a very interesting keynote that actually steps outside of what Sternum is doing and just talks about my experience as a vulnerability researcher and exploiter, just to give the audience the sense of how attackers think before they do something malicious and why, and how they approach the problem or the challenge. Which I think is very interesting, because we can't really develop security solutions in a vacuum. We have to understand the other side to be able to overcome the other side. The other thing is that if you come visit our booth, you'll get to see the attack evaluation platform that we developed. You'll get to see the anomaly detection in real time on actual devices. So there will be some cool hardware in our booth, and you can see different IoT devices, some of them commercial off the shelf, and how they can be protected and observed. And developers could take first-hand view of how to use their SDK to collect logs, events, metrics from their software to be analyzed on our platform.
Well, I look forward to viewing your keynote and swinging by your booth to check all that out. So thanks for joining me today, Natali, and we will catch up soon.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Looking forward to seeing you in the conference.